What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video I am bringing back an original team from the glory days of Go Battle League. You guys probably recognize this, and if you don't, this has been meta for the longest time. Azumarill, Alolan Marowak, and Sableye. Now, why am I bringing this? Because there are so many Medicham in the meta. Literally 11 out of 10 games have a Medicham. If it's not on the lead, it's in the back. If it wasn't in the back and on the lead, it's on your team. So, the reason for that is obviously because there was a Trevenant nerf and the Sky Attack nerf, which has kind of freed up. There hasn't been a lot of extreme hard counters that are common to a Medicham. So I'm bringing a full team to counter it. We also have Fire Blast today, so obviously we are booming. I hope you guys enjoy. This team is still incredibly strong. Let's go and get right into it. All right, getting into the first battle, we have Azumarill on the lead versus Galvantula. A very bad matchup, so I'm going to go ahead and swap out into the Sableye right away to get ahead on energy, and we do draw on an Azumarill. This is ideal if you lose lead and you're running this team. You want to get yourself in a position where you draw out the hardest counter to a Alolan Marowak. Typically, it's going to be Azumarills that there might be in the back, or maybe Dark-type Pokemon like Greninja or Umbreon. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to let this go. It was just an Ice Beam, so that is good. This is going to force them to throw a second charge move. Now, unfortunately, I don't get to the return in time, so I will let this go. I don't want to be giving up shields. The whole point of Alolan Marowak is to have the shield advantage, and we're going to go ahead and come in with Azumarill right away and look to get rid of the opponent's Azumarill while being able to easily tank these charge moves. So I'm going to go ahead and let this go. It is going to be a play rough, so they do have that. My hope was that they had Ice Beam and Hydro Pump, which is why they threw the Ice Beam, but maybe they were hoping I was going to shield. So we're going to go ahead and go for a play rough here, get this Azumarill low, and then we're going to look to go for an Ice Beam after overloading on energy. It's very important when you're managing your own Azumarill to have the opportunity to throw charge moves on the back end. Now, you can never have back-to-back, but this is about as close as you can get. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the Ice Beam here to get rid of the opponent's Azumarill, and I will swap out into Alolan Marowak right away once I see that Galvantula come in. So we do see it come in. I'm going to go ahead and swap out, and there's a Medicham in the back. So this is absolutely beautiful for me. Obviously, the GOAT here, 2-to-1 shield advantage, is going to be having a very, very good time as we can safely commit one shield here to this Medicham Psychic and then look to farm down. The reason why is Psychic is probably the hardest hitting move left in the game. There is the potential for Discharge as well, but this allows me to farm down with a lot of health, and it also allows me now to potentially go for Fire Blast. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the Shadow Bone to try to get that final shield from the opponent, which we do, and now I am ready to unleash. The GOAT is going to be coming out here. They do decide to throw Lunge to try to lower my attack, which is fine by me because Fire Blast is one-shotting either way, and we do get to it in time. So the first boom of today, boom, down goes the Galvantula. Good game. All right, moving to the next one, we have Azumarill on the lead versus Gligar. Very good lead, and typically pairs with Medicham in this season, which means Azumarill is actually very, very good. And I don't know why it took me this long to kind of realize, but Gligar and Medicham is core broken by an Azumarill, and Azumarill is just fantastic. It's the most well-rounded Pokemon. See what I did there? We're going to go ahead and go for Ice Beam now against the Gligar, and they will be probably shielding, and this tells me they're extremely core broken in the back. And it's totally fine by me because I have Sableye and Alolan Marowak. So we're still going to let this go. Aerial Ace is not going to be enough to take us down, so I'm going to go ahead and go for the Ice Beam here to get shield number 2. If this does get the shield, I'm swapping out. I don't want to get farmed down. So I will swap out into Sableye. They bring out Dugong, which is fine by me because I still think there is a Medicham in the back, and I'm also going to go for Return first because this is going to do the most damage before I get hit with an Icy Wind debuff as compared to a Foul Play. And I'm also going to no shield here, knowing that Icy Wind or Drill Run is not going to do enough damage, and I should actually be able to win the race to the next Foul Play as well, which we do get to in time. This is going to be taking out the Dugong. Now, if we see Gligar come in, it's just screaming that Medicham is in the back, And if we don't, then we gotta hope Alolan Marowak can do well. 2-to-1 shield, or 2-to-0 shields, Alolan Marowak should be able to sweep any team in most situations, especially since I do have Fire Blast. But we're gonna go ahead and no shield right here. And then we're gonna look to come in with Azumarill, or sorry, not Azumarill, Alolan Marowak. And then look to go for the Shadow Bone to get rid of the Gligar, as they will go for another charge move. I am giving up a shield here on the potential dig. It is just going to be Aerial Ace, which is fine. We're going to go ahead and throw the Shadow Bone. And now we got 1-to-0 shields. We have Azumarill in the back, ready for a sacrificial swap if we need it. And it is a Medicham in the back every single time. You love to see it. And I will be going for Fire Blast here instead of Shadow Bone. And I'm also going to no shield to add insult to injury. And it was a power-up punch. You love to see it. I'm going to go ahead and go for the Fire Blast now. I'm having way too much fun with Alolan Marowak today. Boom! Nearly one-shots. We fast move down. Good game. Alright, moving into the next one, we have Azumarill on the lead versus Defense Form Deoxys. So, Defense Form Deoxys pairs very well with Dark-type Pokemon, so I gotta be careful about how I manage the health on my Azumarill and how I manage Sableye, because Sableye can easily draw out any Dark-type Pokemon other than the Mirror. So we're going to go ahead and soak the Thunderbolt. We could draw out another Sableye, but they come in with Charm, Alolan, Ninetales, which is very interesting. This tells me that they actually don't have Dark in the back, but they have counters to Dark-type Pokemon in the back, which my hope is that Alolan Marowak can do well. So now I got to come in with Azumarill right here and look to get rid of the Alolan Ninetales and keep Alolan Marowak alive. I also don't want to get hit with the charge move. I want to have as much health remaining on Azumarill as possible as we take out the Alolan Ninetales. And they decide to come in with Lickitung, which is very interesting. And I think my opponent is trying to make a read on me. And I think both of us, or no, I wasn't reading Medicham on their team in this game, but I think my opponent might be predicting I have Medicham in the back. So their hope is that, well, Lickitung still has Power Whip. It does well against Azumarill, and Defense Form Deoxys could handle the Medicham. That's what I think is happening right here. But in the reality of this game, I have the GOAT lurking on the back end, ready to absolutely destroy the Defense Form Deoxys as we do get a shield with Ice Beam. So I am very happy right now as a battler. I'm sitting cozy. We are sitting very good. Now, I overcharge a little bit too much. I should have thrown the Ice Beam sooner, because now I'm going to be hit with a Body Slam, which I do survive, and I can go for Ice Beam anyways to get rid of Lickitung, but I still think they're thinking I have Medicham in the back, so I'm going to go ahead and swap, and no, it is not Defense Form Deoxys. It's the GOAT with Hex and Shadow Bone, which is just asking for trouble. They're going to have to throw 2 Rock Slides if they have it, but odds are they have Thunderbolt and Psycho Boost, so that is going to be a good game. I will throw the first Shadow Bone, and then I'll go for the second one right away. There's not a lot they can do. So, good game, very well played. They decide to no shield right there. Alright. Moving into the next one. We have Azumarill versus Charjabug. So this is a very tough lead and kind of tough to manage with this team. So I'm going to go ahead and swap into Sableye right away. And we do draw out an Alolan Sandslash, which is interesting because we can get ourselves the 2-to-1 shield advantage that I'm always looking for when it comes to this team when I lose lead. Now, Alolan Sandslash is not a hard counter to a Sableye, nor is it a hard counter to Alolan Marowak. It does have access to Drill Run, but we're going to go ahead and get to another foul play in time, which is going to be forcing the shield here. And this is exactly what I want. I want this 2-to-1 shield advantage because I know later on in this game that Azumarill with energy, Alolan Marowak with energy in suboptimal matchups can overcome some of these situations. So what we're going to do is come in with the Azumarill, do a very healthy farm down with Bubble. I don't have enough energy for a charge move, so I will be swapping out right away so that Charjabug doesn't get as much energy. And it's a Quagsire in the back. Ooh. Now, I wouldn't be as concerned if this was 2 seasons ago, or 3 seasons ago, but the Quagsire has access to Mud Bomb now. If you guys are coming back Quagsire not only got access to Mud Bomb, but Mud Bomb got an increase in its base damage that it does. So Quagsire is extremely tough to deal with in these kinds of situations, as opposed to the Stone Edge Earthquake variant from past seasons. So now with Alolan Marowak here, I gotta try to do my best to manage the energy and health. And as you guys are gonna see, Switch Clock is coming back up. This Mud Bomb I don't think is gonna be enough to take me out. So I need to go for one more Hex, swap into a Azumarill, and now this is where I make a critical mistake. I should be going for 2 Ice Beams, because then I would be able to take out the Charjabug, but I make a crucial error thinking I can get to a Play Rough and an Ice Beam. And looking back at this, 2 Ice Beams was the call. I would have had it right there before they got to this charge move. And then Alolan Marowak, I think, wins the CMP tie against Quagsire. So that's a complete misplay on my end. I had the win con there, but sometimes you make mistakes, sometimes you make bad judgment calls, and you take the L on that one, which is fine. Good game to my opponent. Alright, moving into the next one. We have Azumarill on the lead versus Shadow Dragonair. Really nice matchup. Pairs well with Bastiodon, so let's see how this goes. They decide to surrender right away. Okay, so sometimes you have tough games and sometimes you get a nice win like that. Alright, moving into the next one. We got Alolan Ninetales on the lead. Okay, so we'll have to see if this is Charm or Powder Snow. It is going to be Powder Snow, which is a lot more favorable here for the Azumarill, especially when they're not running Dazzling Gleam. A very interesting call. I wonder if that's because of their lack of charge TMs. Just thinking about it, they might have been running Charm before, and then wanted to run Powder Snow instead, but didn't want to dance around trying to get Dazzling Gleam. So we're going to go ahead and no shield right here. It is going to be the Psyshock, which is totally fine because now we should be able to overload just a bit and go for the Ice Beam to take out the Alolan Ninetales. This might be the hardest counter to Sableye on the team, so my hope is that Sableye can do very well here in the end game. And there is a Shadow Nidoqueen in the back, so I'm going to go ahead and come in with that Sableye right away and look to try to CMP tie here on the Foul Play. This does so much neutral damage that the Nidoqueen needs to respect it, as we do get a shield. And now I need to respect the potential Earth Power. I don't know what they have in the back, but I know in this situation the Sableye can do very well. So we're going to go ahead and try to get to one more Foul Play, but they swap into a Medicham. So there was a Medicham in the back, which is huge. Sableye right now going to do very well for me. Alolan Marowak obviously great against the Nidoqueen. And I decided to go for back-to-back Foul Plays. This was a slight mistake because I should have been... I did the worst of both situations here. I should have either not thrown and committed to the farm down, or committed to the farm down and shielded and committed to the farm down, or just gotten rid of the Medicham and not been hit by an Ice Punch, because now I'm facing off against a Shadow Nidoqueen with energy advantage in the even shields. Thankfully, I shielded the Earth Power right there. Had that been a Poison Fang, I think I would have lost. Honestly, I think I would have. I'm going to go ahead and go for Shadow Bone. They decide to shield, obviously, and now they get to another charge move, and this is going to be a second Earth Power. Oh, no. Boom. Now, Sableye, very close to a charge move, but they farm me down. I'm desperate right now. Bubble, please. We get the bubble down. That was a lot closer than it should have been. That was on me. Good game. Alright, we got Alolan Sandslash here on the lead. And what I like to do against Alolan Sandslash teams is look to go for the fake it till you make it Hydro Pump, which means you need to do 7 bubbles, being the fast move, right, Bubble? You need to build up a Play Rough and do 1 more. And then I'm going to go ahead and go for Ice Beam here, because this lets them know that I'm staying in. I might just be going straight Hydro Pump, and we get a shield, so this is huge. As obviously, like you may be guessing, I'm reading that there might be Medicham and Azumarill in the back. It's a very meta and very strong team. So I'm going to go ahead and no-shield the Drill Run. And I'm going to look to go for a Play Rough now. And I honestly, looking back at this, I probably should have just gone into Sableye right away and kept the energy on my Azumarill, but I swap into Sableye either way, and look to no shield right here, because the Ice Punch isn't going to do as much damage. And let's see what they decide to do. They bring out the Azumarill, which is totally fine, because this is exactly what I'm anticipating and hoping for, because if my team read is correct, right, Alolan Marowak gets to face off against the Medicham in the back in a massive shield advantage, whether it's 2 to 1 or 1 to 0. So I'm going to go ahead and shield here, stop that Ice Beam, and I'm hoping that I can get a shield from them right here. That way Alolan Marowak has a lot easier time to sweep. So we're going to go ahead and throw the Foul Play. They decide to no shield, and they decide to come back in with Alolan Sandslash. So this is, again, another tell. I'm like, they have Medicham in the back. All the decisions they're making lead towards Medicham in the back, but it's not. It's a Sableye, and this is now a very tough situation because I'm going to be forced. I try to catch the charge move there on Azumarill, which I don't. I would have loved to have caught it right there because the Sableye got like 3 or 4 extra Shadow Claws for free, which is going to allow them to get to the Foul Play, the third Foul Play, faster than I was hoping. So now I'm going to go ahead and shield the Foul Play. My hope here is that I get the defense drop and I get a shield, right? Because then the next Shadow Bone will KO. Get the shield, no defense drop, and I don't have enough time to get to Fire Blast because the Sableye is 1 Shadow Claw away now from Foul Play. So that is going to be a good game, unfortunately, as they will get to the next charge move. So it really didn't go my way there. I was reading it to a T, but ultimately there was a Sableye in the back instead of Medicham, which makes sense for that team anyways. So good game, very well played. All right, moving to the next one. We have Azumarill versus Shadow Gligar on the lead. Very positive for me, and we will see them swap out now into Dugong, which is totally fine. I think all the my whole team is a great answer to Shadow Gligar, especially with energy. So I'm going to utilize Azumarill here to firstly get Dugong sub 50% health points, and then I'm going to look to no shield, bank an Ice Beam, and swap into Sableye. This is a calculated play here because I know if I keep Ice Beam, which I have right now with that extra bubble, if I keep Ice Beam, it's going to pay off against the Gligar coming back into it. And if I swap into Sableye, because they were just energy drained, I get to the Foul Play before they get to the Icy Wind because they need 5 Ice Shards in order to do so, which now allows me to KO the Dugong, maintain switch advantage, draw back out the Shadow Gligar, which I can get to a Foul Play against, which applies massive neutral damage, gets me shield advantage, and I banked the charge move on Azumarill. So let's see what they decide to do. I'm going to go ahead and look to no shield right here. Alright, sorry, shield right here, as it is going to be the Aerial Ace because I'm 1 Foul Play away. And if this gets shield number 2, we are looking very good, and it does get shield number 2. So what you guys are going to see right here is a misclick on my end, but I decided to swap out into Azumarill and go for Ice Beam, but it did a bubble first. Very unfortunate. I thought I clicked the charge move, but it looked like I was just slightly off, and there's a Lantern in the back, which is obviously dangerous, but thankfully I do get to this play rough. This is a huge play rough for me to land because of how much neutral damage it does. And now my only win con is utilizing my Sableye to catch a charge move in order to win this game because this Lantern has a lot of energy. So we're going to go ahead and come in with the Alolan Marowak. We're going to look to no shield this first one. Surf, obviously, it's a ton of super effective damage. It's 50%. So now this next one we have to shield, and this is where things get very dangerous for both of us, me and my opponent, because it's all going to come down to the sack swap. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the Shadow Bone just as they throw the Spark, so I know they can't swap out. And now the Gligar's coming in. I'm going to go 3 wing attacks. 1, 2, 3, swap, and we catch the charge move. The recovery is so clutch as the Aerial Ace goes into the Sableye, and we go 1 more Hex to get the Shadow Bone off, and this is going to be a good game. Very well played. The GOAT coming through clutch right here for me in a very tough situation. Boom. You love to see it. I believe that was the final battle. It was. So this team obviously has its weaknesses. You'll face off against stuff that kind of hard counter this team, but you also do very well against Medicham teams. As I've shown today, we saw a wide range of them, and this team does very well overall against this meta, and I'm very happy because the GOAT is back. Now, obviously, you guys could use different Ghost-type Pokemon if you want to. You could put in Skeledirge there for Alolan Marowak by all means, but this was just a team that I love running and love using. So, hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.